Hey everyone, today I'd like us to go ahead and try a hands-on activity. So for this activity, which is going to involve area, a few things that you need. So you will need something to write with. Could be pencil, pen, Sharpie. You'll need some scissors. You'll need a ruler or a straight edge. Doesn't have to be a ruler, something you can draw a straight line with. And in addition, you're going to need something that is in the form of a rectangle that you can draw on and cut. So could be a piece of paper, like some old notes that you have or some old homework. Could be a note card of any size. So might be a 5x8 note card, might be 4x6, might be 3x5, or you might even have a post-it, maybe a little 1.5x2 inch post-it. It's really up to you what you want to use. Typically the bigger the better. What I'm going to use is a 5x8 note card while I do this example. So go ahead, pause the video if you need to, and get your supplies. Alright, so like I said, I'm going to be using a 5x8 index card. And this index card, I'm going to use this side, the longer side, as my base. So a base of 8 inches, and a height is going to be my 5 inches. It's obviously a rectangle, so we do have a right angle in each of the corners. Now, if you remember, our talk about area. Area is the amount of surface that this is going to take up, and we measure it in square units. So these are in inches. So the idea of the area of this rectangle is how many square inches would be needed to cover this space. So we would take these 1 inch by 1 inch squares, and we would figure out how many of these we would need to cover this space. Right? We learned before that we can use the area formula to compute the area as well. So what I'd like you to do is whatever rectangular piece of paper you have or index card, go ahead and label the base and the height. If you need to measure, go ahead and measure. And then go ahead and calculate the area. So you can do it right on that sheet of paper or index card. So first, write out the area formula. The area is the base multiplied by the height. Alright, next up, substitute in the values of the base and the height. So our base is 8, and our height is 5. So now I need to multiply 8 times 5 to find the area. So that would give us 40. And again, our units are square inches. I'm going to abbreviate square inches. All right, and that would be the area of this rectangle. Now, if we were to go ahead and put all those squares on it and see how many squares, it would look something like this. So notice, if we did put all the squares on here and we counted them, we would have 40 square inches. Alright, so that's our first step. The next thing I would like you to do is to go ahead and pick any point along the top here. Any point along the top. I'm going to pick a point here. Sometimes closer to the middle, maybe just to the left or right of the middle works well for this. And I'd like you to go ahead and mark the bottom left-hand corner. And then I would like you to draw a line for those 2 points. So use a straight edge. Doesn't have to be a ruler, but do try and make it a nice straight line. Something like this, but do make sure it goes to the corner. In geometry, we call the corners of these polygons vertices. Okay, so you're going to draw a line from somewhere along the top of the rectangle down to the vertex. Alright, so pause the video if you need to. Alright, the next thing that you're going to do is go ahead and cut along this line here. Okay, so take your scissors and cut along that line. While I do that, please stand by. Alright, so try and make it as straight as you can. And success. So now I have that piece cut out, and what I would like you to do is to go ahead and take the piece you cut out and slide it to the other side. So don't flip it or rotate it, just slide it to the other side. And I want you to notice, what shape did we just make? Now if you don't remember what that's called, we have opposite sides that are both parallel. That means they'll never meet. If you extend these lines forever and ever, they will never meet. And they are the same length. So they are of equal length. In geometry, we call those congruent. So the opposite sides are parallel and congruent. And when you have a polygon with 4 sides, also known as a quadrilateral, where you have opposite sides that are congruent, equal, and parallel, that is a parallelogram. So what I want you to think about is, what is the area of that parallelogram? Alright, now if you think about it, all we did is we took this rectangle. Now in this case, my rectangle is 40 square inches. And I didn't take anything away. All I did was take part of that area and shift it to the other side. So this parallelogram actually has the same area as the rectangle, which is 40 square inches. Okay, if I just go ahead and bring over the one with all the squares, again, we have 40 square inches. If I cut along that same line and move it to the other side, I didn't change the area. I still have all the pieces. I still have 40 square inches. So what does that mean? How can we find out the area of a parallelogram by using a formula? Well, the formula is going to be the same as for a rectangle. So the area of a rectangle is the area is equal to the base times the height. And the area of the parallelogram is going to be base times the height. Now there's one key thing that's much different. Here the height is not a side of the parallelogram. So in the rectangle, the height is a side of the rectangle. In a parallelogram, the height is not. Okay, now if you remember though, the corners of the rectangle make a 90-degree angle. They make a right angle. So we can find the height by using one of the sides and then make a 90-degree angle and use that as the height. So that's going to be the key when we get into triangles and trapezoids. Different types of shapes, is the base is always a side of the shape. The height is always measured at a 90-degree angle from the base. So in this case, the base is 8, the height is 5. Now, just to show you real quick, if I were to measure this side length is 5.75 inches. So 5 3/4 of an inch. And that is not going to give you 40 square inches. So when you're given area of parallelogram problems, actually finding the area of any polygon, you're going to want to use the base as a side and the height making a 90-degree angle. Alright, so hopefully by doing this little activity, you're going to see how the area is the base times the height and not taking the side length of the parallelogram. Alright, have a great day.